Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. I'm really excited today. I should have had a shave, smartened up, increased the production quality. It's not going to happen. You know how I roll. Why am I excited? I'm excited because one of my favourite brands, Bilt Hamber, have released a formula change on one of my favourite products, Bilt Hamber touchless. So what have they done? And why is this going to be of interest to you? Stay tuned to find out. Okay guys, so welcome back to the channel. Let's get stuck straight into this. So if you're new to detailing, what is Bilt Hamber touchless? We have to cover that. I know lots of you know this. Okay, touchless is a renewable sugar-based biodegradable snow foam pre-wash. It delivers excellent, it really does, excellent cleaning and free rinsing properties. So by free rinsing, it's non-cationic, so it doesn't cling to the car and need a very high pressure wash. Indeed, you can use this with a low pressure rinse and you'll still get it all off of the car. High pressure rinse is always desirable when cleaning cars because it will help blast off some of that softened dirt. So this goes on that dirt film first and softens it all down. You blast it off and then you go on and do your contact clean. Indeed, you can use Touch On, their coating shampoo, after that if you like, or any other shampoo in the contact wash. Touchless cleans without the use of petrochemical surfactants, solvents, phosphates, caustics, NTA, preservatives or biocides. And it also includes powerful corrosion inhibitors, which is great when you're cleaning old cars with exposed, metals and stuff, things that could corrode. For further technical information, see the QR code. I like those QR codes. And there's information on how you dose it out and use it. So now you know what touchless is. So it's a snow foam, is it then, John? Yes. But it's a really good snow foam. In fact, probably my number one recommendation if you follow the channel. It's what I personally use. Why? For the reasons it says on that label. It's pure surfactant. It doesn't have anything nasty in it. But ultimately, I want that pre-wash to strip off dirt off of the car. That's what I'm looking for. And that's what this product does. And it's historically, you'd have had to have gone with a TFR or something with some heavy duty chemicals in it to have that same level of cleaning. This, you get all that level of cleaning, but without destroying the planet and all that sort of stuff. Okay, the history of Bilt Hamber, they also have another pre-wash called Auto Foam that existed before touchless, which is also very powerful. John, what should I use, touchless or Auto Foam? Well, I'm just not going to beat around the bush. I prefer touchless. I find it leaves slightly less white film on the car and it's easier to rinse. And I think it cleans a little bit better as well, although that is very debatable. Very debatable. So, in fact, indeed, Bilt Hamber even say that in certain circumstances, Auto Foam might outperform touchless. It might outperform it when degreasing is required, I think. But anyway, there's a quick roundup of Auto Foam and touchless. Why should you use a pre-wash? Some people are convinced pre-washes are all a load of show foam and no purpose and just waste time and waste chemicals and waste energy, waste water. Not for me. If you think that, it's probably because you've not encountered an effective pre-wash which really does deliver. And lots of the pre-washes are mild and they might be designed to not harm your LSP, your last stage protection, and be pH neutral and very mild. But the problem with those ones is the difference between putting those on a car and then just jet washing your car with water is minimal. So I like my pre-wash to have tons of impact at its recommended usage ratio. And if I don't need that cleaning power, I'll just use hardly any. And there'll just be a little bit of foam on there, So I want cleaning power. Right, so that's why you should consider pre-washing. By getting that dirt off first in a contactless manner, and you'll remove 95% of the dirt with this pre-wash, give or take the odd percent, then that's less dirt, abrasive slurry, as we sometimes call it, that you're going to be dragging over your car when you go to clean it. Also, if you don't get it off in the pre-wash and you're reliant on contact washing, I don't know about you, but when I wash a really dirty car that I haven't pre-washed properly, I can miss bits. And if you tell me, well, you're useless, fine. But I miss bits. So if the pre-wash is really good and I do miss a little bit under there or a bit down here or something like that, then it's less noticeable later on, you know, when I'm out and about. So it's just better. That's the way to go. Okay, so we've covered some people think pre-wash does nothing. Now. What is the main claim to fame of the new touchless? Well, Bilt Hamber have doubled the cleaning power. Now, they want you to use this new product at a maximum PIR, which is a panel impact ratio, which we'll talk about in a minute. Some of you are going to struggle with that. They want you to use this at a maximum PIR of 2%. Now, the previous, I hope I got that right. I should double check the bottle. This is all new to me. It's hot off the press. It's only arrived today, or yesterday, late yesterday. Maximum PIR of 2% and a minimum effective PIR of 0.5%. Now, to put that in layman's terms, or before we put that in layman's terms, the old touchless, I believe, had a maximum PIR of 5%. An Autofoam, I believe, had a maximum PIR of 4%. So if this maximum PIR is 2%, that's more than double the cleaning power, actually, in my head, which is good. But we're I don't know, that doesn't really matter. So there we go. Now let's just pull this over and have a look at this directions, okay? Shake it well before use. It always just mixes your chemical up, okay? Touchless may be applied with a trigger spray, pump spray, pressure washer or snow foam lance. The minimum recommended dilution is 0.5%. Hopefully you can see this. Panel impact ratio, and up to 2% panel impact ratio for very dirty vehicles, okay? Where application is through a trigger spray or pump sprayer, the dilution calculation is easy to achieve. Yes, it is. You know, if you've got a litre of water and you want to put 1% PIR in a pump sprayer, then you put in 10 mil of product. Now, some of you, yeah, that's close enough to a PIR, okay? That's close enough. You'd actually have 990 mil of water, wouldn't you? Because otherwise you'd go over your litre. But it's close enough. So a litre of water in a pump sprayer would be 10 mil to achieve 1%. If you can't work that out, I can't help you. So 20 mil would be 2%. If you can't work that out, I can't help you. Some of you can't work that out, unfortunately. Now, there is also on the back of this bottle a method for calculating PIR for when you put it into a snow foam lance. What the hell's a snow foam lance? Snow foam lance is this thing. So whatever you mix out in this reservoir isn't what's coming out of the nozzle in terms of concentration, because you've got loads of water going through here. So this generally knocks it down by another factor of 10. But don't use that as a rule of thumb. In fact, forget I ever said that. So calculating the PIR for your snow foam lance is a little bit more tricky. You do it once when you get snow foam lance and you're forever done. And the instructions for doing it are on the back. And to be fair, it's not that hard. If you cannot calculate a PIR, you should not be doing anything. Just go and sit down and watch Netflix or something. Now, here's a really quick rule of thumb. 50-50, 50% product to 50% water will yield you roughly a 5% PIR on most snow foam cannons that are designed to be used with electric domestic pressure washer systems. There's obviously a big amount of error in that statement, quite a lot, plus or minus 30% error in that statement at least. But that's what it works out for me as. So 50-50 equals 5%. Therefore, 250 ml product to 750 ml will equal 2.5%. Roughly 200 ml to 800 ml would get me about 2%. And roughly 100 mil to 900 mil would get me 1%. So you see how I work it out in my head, but I've done that calculation before. So I can work out PIR very quickly by backtracking from a 50-50 equals 5%. Okay. So now we've got to move on to the nitty gritty. Can this product actually clean? Now, the only way I can benchmark this, because every time you clean a car, it's a different set of dirt, it's a different time of the year, there's different variables, so it'll be very difficult. So I have the patented, it's not, the patented forensic dirt simulator, which I use to test products. So I'm going to skip to my dirt simulator test section right now. Doug. Right, so let's move on to the dirt simulator test, guys. So out of my test panel there, I've got a thin film of the dirt simulator, which is full of organic things that you would find in road film, dirt, water, a little bit of solvent, a bit of surfactant, all sorts of nasty things. And it needs to be able to degrease to clean this off, as well as all the other properties of cleaning. Now we've got 6 mil of touchless to 300 mil of water, which is about 2%. And we're going to pour this onto our dirt simulator and see what it does. Now, let's just do this and worry about talking afterwards. See what? It's not going to go everywhere. I want the fried egg. Okay, we'll get the fried egg going. So we'll have some bits that haven't got the, well, maybe we won't. Yeah, we have, look, we've got the fried egg. The fried egg is useful because it just shows us where the product's been and where it hasn't. The problem is it's spreading. It's going to want to spread. Now we should really leave this for 1 to 5 minutes, as long as it doesn't dry. It will not dry in this temperature, it's cold. Let's just pan this out a little bit. The thing with these is as well, the thing with the Bilt Hamber pre-washes, let's just go in here and chat while that thing's doing its thing, is they don't need like 10 minutes. Indeed, this one, 1 to 5 minutes. In the summer, it can dry, any snow foam can dry within 5 minutes, and it can be bone dry, baked on in 10. So that 10-minute rule, you know, isn't a rule. Always don't allow them to dry, basically, which a lot of them will say. But I always found Bilt Hamber snow foams, typically auto foam and touchless, couple of minutes in the summer's fine. Yes, in the winter, where you might have loads of road film on there and it's cold, leaving them for a bit longer where they don't dry can help a little bit. So yeah, 5 minutes max. So how long have we been here? I've just got the clock going. We've been over a minute. We've been over a minute. We'll give it another minute. So we might as well pause the camera and come back in about another minute or so, whatever. Doug. Okay guys, I think we've been probably somewhere close to 4 minutes now in total. The film is still wet, it hasn't dried, that's the key. So let's give it a rinse down, see how this works. Or has it worked? That's the crunch test, isn't it? Let's go. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. Really good. So, I mean, it's not all off. I don't even know if you can tell on camera though, but there's still some dirt there, but that's okay. It's kind of normal. Nothing ever gets it 100% off. This is a more aggressive film than real road film. You know, it's slightly thicker and greasier and heavier. But that, yeah, that's pretty good. I've seen nothing at 2% that will do that, as far as I know. And that is kind of consistent with what auto foam and touchless does at its full ratio. So it's interesting. They've managed to put more grunt into it at a lower ratio, which is clever, So let me go back to another section of dialogue. So that's the dirt simulator testing. Okay, we're back. So the good news is it does look like the product can clear the dirt simulator, or virtually clear it, knock it right off at 2% ratio, which is phenomenal. That is just one test, you know, one test. I've used it as well on my car, but I can't really gauge from one use. You've got to probably go through a bottle of it or something like that to get a better idea. But it looks like on the surface of it, the cleaning power, the integrity of the statement of the 2% cleaning ratio looks good. What else do I notice about this product when I go and use it, guys? Well, I was expecting, even though they've managed to get the cleaning power twice as strong, which I have no idea how they've managed to do because it was already ridiculously powerful. The other things I've noticed is the foaming levels are still really good at 2% for me. I don't have the most powerful pressure washer. I have hard water like all of you, but my Lance does typically produce decent foam. But at a 2% ratio, I got lovely stable foam, which really formed a nice blanket, which was quite nice. You know, it's always nice from an aesthetic point of view. Not that it makes any difference, but it's nice when you see good foam. And when I'm doing YouTube, if I do foam and it's thin, God help me, because people in the comments will be straight away, your foam isn't working because it's like thin. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. We won't go into all of that. But anyway, so it looks good. The other thing I noticed, forgive the dodgy camera work, is that I can smell it. It doesn't have an unpleasant smell. It just has like a bio-y surfactant kind of smell, which is a hard thing to describe, but it's kind of hard to describe the smell. But I could never notice the smell before when I sprayed it around, but I can actually smell something this time. So I made a note of that. It still has a really nice free rinsing property to it. So you don't, when you rinse off some snow foams, you can chase them around. You can see a little bit of it. You can see sometimes some cling and you can see it peeling, and you really need to get at it with a pressure washer, but you don't get that with touchless. It just sort of flies off the panel with the water. So the free rinsing thing is another thing that I like about it, even more so than the auto foam, which you do need to be a bit more careful with when you're rinsing. So the next thing I want to talk about is pricing, because this product, at the time I shoot this video, it's just being released, okay? So you're going to only be able to buy 1 litre of it, okay? I don't know when, but soon, you know, when they can get enough of it, they'll get like a tanker of sugar soap. They'll be cutting all these sugar canes somewhere. Soon there'll be a 5 litre offering. What are the prices? Get on with it, John. The 1 litre offering is £9.95, which I think is very reasonable. I don't know what it was before at a litre. I don't even know if you could get a litre of it before. The 5 litre price is £29.95, which is, I believe, about £7 more expensive. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's about 22 quid before. Now it's £29.95. So you've added another 7 quid on the cost of it, roughly. Something like that. So, John, it's more expensive. Well, it costs more, but you use it at half the ratio. You do. Its maximum ratio is 2%. You don't use it at 3%. You do not use it at 4%. You definitely don't use it at 5%. You definitely don't use it at 3%. So it's cheaper, is what I'm trying to say. How much does it actually cost to use them? Well, it's 2% ratio. It's 2% ratio. Based on you using 333 mil, which is a third of a lance, a full lance, you know. So you use 333 mil of total water and product, which is 66 mil at 2%, isn't it? Roughly 66 mil per wash. Okay. I've used this lance here. That's actually how much I've got left, which is I've just got slightly more than 500 mil left. I've got about 550 mil, so I've used 450. But I'm filming, and I did a couple of takes, and I went over a few bits a couple of times. Took my time. I think 333 mil is probably realistic, and that uses a lot of product. That goes through its container quicker. Anyway, cut to the chase. It works out about 40p per wash at 2% ratio, which is a lot cheaper than it was before. You can vary that depending on, if you say, well, I'm using half a litre, your price is going to go up and everything. So it just gives you an example. It's going to be cheaper than it was before, though. Here's the cool thing. If you use it at 0.5, which it's 10p a wash, isn't it? I haven't explored in this video using it at 0.5, but I'm really interested because all of you used to tell me, oh, I'm going through touchless like crazy, John. I'm using like 500 mil every wash. I'm thinking, well, do you need to use it at that? Because I used to use touchless at 1 and 2% in the summer and stuff like that. And I only used it at its top ratio when I needed to. But I don't think it ever said on the label you could use it lower. This does, and I think that's important. So how does it perform at 0.5%? Because not much can clean at 0.5% in my experience. So that's something else I'll probably pick up on in future videos because I'm interested. Because then it becomes awesome. I'll just be really interested to see 10p a wash, 0.5. What can it do? The next thing, guys. The next thing. This is really important to me as a YouTuber. Sorry. Well, why are you laughing, John? So I did some videos recently where I was just snow foaming this car, which is dirty. It's not running at the moment, which is another problem. I'm up to my eyeballs in problems. And I think over Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, more than 10 million people watched this car being snow foamed, so it goes viral. So when something goes viral, it should be like a delight. You should be really happy. It's like, whoa, I've gone viral. But unfortunately, it's not a delight because you get tons of idiots. And all of the idiots, whenever they see you snow foaming a car, the first thing they say is that must be bad for the environment. Look at all that thick foam. That's going to kill the unicorn in the street over the road. And that gets on my nerves, that does. Because it's a lot of comments. It's a lot of comments. So when I use this particular product, it's great. Because I reply back to the eco-warriors that tell me I'm destroying the planet. Well, actually, this is a bio-based product. It's a very environmentally clean way to clean your car. And it's, phosphate-free, it's sugar-based, all those things I said earlier on, phosphate-free, NTA-free, solvent-free, petrochemical-free, fully 100% biodegradable, because Bilt Hamber are actually quite an environmentally conscious company. I love that, because when I reply back to them, they go quiet. They all just go quiet. They go on to the next video and moan about something else. That's just the nature of the internet. But I get immense pleasure out of that. I'm going to summarise the video now, and this is really important, going back to a serious point. That was a joke, that last thing. I hate environmental warriors. Eco-warriors, though. Pet hate of mine. The main criticisms of Autofoam and Touchless were, yes, they were cheaper than other snow foams, but you had to use a lot of it. That was the main criticism. The main criticism of Autofoam was it wasn't foamy enough. So that's probably the main criticism that Bilt Hamber have had to deal with these products. Touchless is quite foamy, quite thick. So if you like that, great. If you don't, who cares? It's foamy. It's good. But the cool thing is now, the criticism, which is probably fair criticism about having to use really high amounts, has been addressed, and it's more kind of in line with what you'd expect. What I always used to say about the criticism about you've got to use X amount or Y amount is that Bilt Hamber are not a detailing scene brand. They're a technical, functional brand where they'll deliver a product to do a certain thing a certain way, and you use it this way and it will deliver. And their idea was that a pre-wash, I think, should clean the car. Funny that. And they formulated something to do that. And that, incredibly, was what was noticed about the product. And then it became very, very popular because it cleans the car. Whereas I think, to be fair, a lot of the other snow foams on the market look great. They might smell great. They might have like a lovely, scent. They might look amazing, but they don't clean. So the proposition for Joe Public, aka you and me, was there are probably about 500 to 1,000 snow foam offerings that cost between 30 and 50 pounds that don't really clean that well. And there's going to be exceptions to that statement, there's and probably some other good product. There are some other good products out there, of course, but you're spoilt for choice. So when one comes along that costs £20 and does clean radically more different than it sells, what they've done now is, I think, just address the issues. I'm really impressed that they've been able to make an already powerful product twice as powerful. This touchless, to me, has TFR level cleaning power, without any of that horrible stuff that is horrible for you, horrible for the environment. So yeah, great product. You'll only be able to go and buy a litre of it at the moment, at the time that I shoot this video, and it will be cheap for a litre, so it'll be £9.95. I'll put a link for it in the description where you can buy it. You could try the code forensic, but I don't know if that works or not. I don't doubt it, but try it anyway. And get in there quick, because I have a feeling this stuff is going to fly out the blocks quicker than Usain Bolt. Quicker than him. That'll do. Right, over and out. Take care. Adios. Doug.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when